Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video we are on the Pioneer server. Just keep in mind that the content which we're going to be showing, it could be subject to change when it actually comes out for the global release. But yeah, the interesting thing is now we have a lot more opportunities to be testing in the Ravaged Realm because we have that available on Pioneer server, and there are people who are getting really high scores in the Immortal squad just using Supreme Plus heroes, because on Pioneer server no one has Paragon heroes, and we also have a limited amount of exclusive equipment upgrade material, so a lot of people are just going to leave most of their heroes at plus 10 for the testing. And here we have two great team examples, both getting really top scores. And then here we have my team, which is basically just a copy of the overall top performing team right now with maybe some different magic charms. But these are two great teams, and the really cool thing you're going to notice is that in the second best team here, which is getting really close to the overall best team, it is not even using Hodgkin. They're using Salazar instead of Hodgkin, which is great news for a lot of people out there who didn't build Hodgkin. Basically, you're still going to be able to compete for an overall top score in this boss as long as you have Talene. Talene is really the key hero for the Immortal squad. You're going to see it based on the damage output here. Look at that. If you don't have Talene, then you're going to suffer in the Immortal squad by quite a lot. But you do not need Hodgkin. Salazar is working really well and almost competing with the overall top performing team. But that being said, this overall top scoring team is going to be this one here. Same heroes in team number 1, but team number 2 Hodgkin instead of the Salazar with the Greatsword spell. But because they're so close, I honestly think either one, you can go for either choice. So we're going to begin by looking at and watching the replay of this Salazar team. Talene deals almost all of the damage, and we have Nero, and the thing with Nero is he contributes a bit of damage himself, but also with his ultimate ability, he will make your heroes basically able to revive in the ghost form after they take lethal damage. And for this boss, because thalassa hits really hard, this is actually pretty useful. But what I found really interesting is you would think Nero would want to give his magic charm bonus to Viperion for the bonus attack, but it's actually better on this team for Thorn to be soul pacting and protecting the Viperion. When we take a look at the charm bonuses, the really only important charm is Blast Charm onto Talene, in my opinion, and Viperion charm, you can go for balance or you can go for the insight charms, which give him HP and skill power. I don't know which is actually better, but balance, because of the attack, it does seem like it would be better. Ludovic, just the insight charms, and Nero Thorin don't really matter because their damage is really, really low. So here they've just opted for energy on hit and then the tankiness. So that is pretty interesting with the Verdant spell. And team number 2 here, formation is going to be Salazar just off the buff tile and Cecia and Carolina on it with the resonating spell on Cecia. And this is also with a +5 exclusive equipment Cecia. This isn't even +10 on Cecia, and it did get really good score, 95.5 billion damage. It's even higher than I was able to do, copying the overall the top scoring team formation. Okay, so let's take a look at the replay number 1 and watch it in action. And yeah, I'll go over the charms again so that you guys know exactly what charms to focus. But basically, Talene with Blast Charms, that is what you're going to want to focus for Immortal squad. And then after that, Cecia and Carolina, and try to give both of them Cecia Gale charms and Carolina Arcane charms, or any sort of offensive option for Carolina. Okay, so interestingly about Verdant spell is that it will give more energy recovery to Talene, and also each time you trigger the buffs, it will give a boost of energy to all of your allies, because we have more than 3 different classes deployed, or 3 or more classes deployed in this formation. And then you also have haste for your supports, which can be useful. Nero is planting basically all of his ultimates on all of the team, so that even if they do die, which they're probably going to die in the next AoE attack of thalassa, they will basically respawn and be able to continue dealing damage. Yeah, well, I think actually no one ended up dying here, because the Thorn Soul Pack Viperion is actually protecting him to survive the whole fight. 59 billion damage to team number 1 is crazy. Honestly, even breaking 56 billion damage on a team number 1 in Ravaged Realm is insane. And also keep in mind, there are no Paragon heroes here, so when we actually get this on global, with people with all Paragon 4 heroes, they're going to be easily breaking 100 billion, even with this Salazar team. Okay. So with team number 2, it is a bit easier. The boss doesn't hit as hard as compared to team number 1. And Salazar doesn't do bad. Like, his damage output is not too bad. He deals over 6 billion damage on his own. And Cece and Carolina then do all of the major damage in this fight. And yeah. So, and I think a lot of people would have both Cece and Carolina built up. Most people have both of them to Mythic Plus or above. And if you have them Supreme Plus, that would be even better for the stats. But yeah, again, Gale Charms for Cecia are going to be the best, and for Carolina, Arcane Charms. But if you can't go for those, and let's say maybe you have 2 out of 3 of another set, as long as the set gives them one offensive stat, it could be attack percent, it could be crit down, or it could be haste, anything like that. If it does give them an offensive stat, you can complete that set and move on to the next hero. But for Talene, because she is really doing almost all of the damage in this overall team, 45 billion damage, I think you need to get her Blast Charms. That's the overall priority. The other heroes, honestly, it doesn't really matter too much. You can be running them with anything, but try to get their full mythic set so they get the maximum basic stats and they get the quality bonus. That is going to be the important thing to do. Okay, that was amazing. Honestly, really amazing showcase of that team. And we can take a look at the overall, what is apparently the overall top scoring team. But it seems so close to the other second best team that we showed. What is really interesting to me is when you actually compare the damage chart, the team number 2 did, like, it seemed like the Verdant-Spell version of Talene ends up doing more damage, like 59 billion on this first team. And so this might be the optimal formation for the Talene team. But for the second team, if we add up the damage here, Salazar is not doing quite as much as Hodgkin, like 14 billion from Cecia and then 15.7 billion if we compare it to the Hodgkin team on team 2 here. 14 billion, okay, so maybe 2 billion less, but Hodgkin does more than 2 billion more than Salazar, so Hodgkin is doing a little bit better than Salazar. But let's take a look at the team number 2 here to watch it in action. If you have Hodgkin, I do think he's going to be better than Salazar, but from this it really shows you that Salazar is totally runnable instead of Hodgkin as well, and he will do fine. He won't do maybe quite as well as Hodgkin, but he comes really close. I think what it looks like is a Talene with Verdant-Spell team that we just showed you for Team 1. That is going to be the optimal team. And for Team 2, this might be the optimal, but Salazar with resonating on Cecia could be a good option as well. You could even try Greatsword Spell with the Salazar team. It might be good as well, but yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. So all the way up to 30 billion with this team. 34 seconds left. But yeah, the overall thing to focus on is if you have Talene built, get her Blast Charms. Number 2 priority would be, in my opinion, for mages it would be Carolina, get her Arcane Charms, and for marksman it would be Cecia, get her the Gale Charms. Apart from that, I wouldn't really focus too much on the other charms, especially if you're going for Salazar. You can just equip whatever you have to him, but for the record, in that Salazar team, he was running the Titanic Charms onto Salazar for boosting his damage. So we can just take a look at the charms that are being run here. So the Salazar was running the Titanic Charms, and Carolina and Cecia on the Arcane and Gale Charms respectively. On this team as well, same Arcane and Gale Charms on Carolina and Cecia, and Arcane Charms onto Hodgkin. For the team number 1, the weird thing was this Talene was running these execution charms with ultimate power as well, which I don't recommend. Like, that is a more PvP oriented thing, because in Ravaged Realm I don't think execution is actually taking effect, because the boss would have to have below 50% of his HP ratio, which I don't think actually ever is considered to be triggering that. So yeah, basically for Immortal Squad, the teams are pretty much solved at this point. These are the overall top performing teams, so now you know which charms to be focusing on. But really, I would just say 3 of them: Talene Blast Charms, Cecia Gale Charms, Carolina Arcane Charms, and then you can move on to the other faction squads, Dauntless, Sylvan, Aurora. Because, like, the thing is, when you're looking for a specific best in slot charm, you could maybe have to do, like, maybe even in just one of your 6 sweeps in one day, it might not be enough for you to get exactly those ones you're looking for, and you'll have to craft one or two as well to finish it off. And so you're going to be kind of limited in how many heroes you can get. They're totally best in slot charms. So I would just really focus on these three big ones, and then we'll talk about, like, tomorrow when the Dauntless Squad comes out on the Pioneer server, then I will be telling you about that, what would be the recommended charms. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully this was helpful, and good luck preparing for this. But yeah, if you have these heroes, even if you have Salazar, don't worry, you're going to be able to get a good score, which is great. But thanks for watching. I'll hope to see you guys in the next video, and until then, everyone, peace out for now.